The first few.
Ask me again.
Hi, Sam, and hi, Rob. This is Emily. I'm just testing to see if you can hear us.
I can hear you. How about, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
This is Sam. I can, and Rob can. Can you guys hear us?
We can hear Sam, yes.
Okay.
This is Rob. Let me see if, does this one work?
You're also working. Yes, welcome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I don't. Oh man, it's one of them days. Oh man.
Everybody's name on it, and after the meeting, the committee.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Council, questions for this attorney firm? How would we like to go about the interviews this evening?
I think when we answer questions, all four questions, then. Sorry. All four get the same questions. All four.
Staff, as we go through these interviews, if you have questions as well, please feel free to ask. It's important that we're all on the same page with this. I don't know if the chiefs are planning on joining us for this evening or not. As far as interviews, do you know, Emily?
I'm
Okay, that's perfect. Thanks, Emily.
I did send everybody.
Okay, perfect. If you'd like to join us, that's fine. Yeah. And as far as Jordan goes, are we waiting for Jordan? I know Councilman Skips has an excused absence, but
You guys have a quorum, and each attorney firm has 15 minutes, just like the last time we did attorney interviews. So Jordan did not tell me he wouldn't be here, but he did not also tell me he would be here.
okay. Sounds good. Gentlemen, you want to take it away?
Is that to us?
That is, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you for having us. And we've put together a submittal about our firm and about the primary attorneys. We're glad to answer any questions about that. We recently had the opportunity to do some work with the city. Enjoyed that, and I believe got a fair and efficient result. So hopefully that speaks for itself to a degree, but we do municipal work all across the state. That's there are one or two attorneys in our firm that is not their predominant workload. The rest of us, it's at least half or more of what we do. And Rob and I, it's probably 3/4 of what we do on a daily basis. Cities, large and small. Rob and I both he came from Juneau, I came from Anchorage. So the larger cities, but we also do work, with the mid-sized places like Soldotna, Kodiak, Unalaska, and have for decades with most of those. But as well as I really enjoy working for Tooksuk Bay and Saxman and a lot of tiny places. So this is what we do. It's what we've been doing for decades now, and glad to be of service to the city of North Pole if we're selected. And with that, just any questions you have for Rob or I about how we work or what would be a good fit for North Pole.
Okay, thank you. Questions, council? Staff? Councilman Brandt.
Good evening. I assume that Mr. Palmer would be our primary point of contact with your law firm. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. And it would be. That's how we envision it. He is already familiar with the players from handling that case recently, and has probably the best sort of availability right now as well to be that. But we take a lot of pride in, I mean, you just copy me on anything to Rob, and if he's out for a day and it's urgent or whatever, I'm around, and if I'm not, then somebody else is. And we'll probably get you plugged in with somebody who is, I think Alex in our office is an associate, is experienced, he's just newer to the firm. And to make sure we have coverage, that's important to me, just with time sensitive issues. But Rob would be the lead.
So one of the issues that we had with our previous firm is they did not, the attorney that we had did not have a lot of municipal experience. And it soon became aware that was necessary. So I'm aware of Mr. Palmer's background, but if you could share with the rest of the council the municipal experience that you have.
Sure, I can take that one. Good evening. It's good to put names to faces. So thank you for having us. Sam and I and the two other partners in the firm all have at least 10 years of experience being city attorneys for various municipalities. And my experience, I've been with the firm now for almost 2 years. Prior to that, I worked in Juneau, as Sam mentioned, as the city attorney for 6 years, and then as an assistant city attorney there for about 5. And then prior to that, I was in Washington, worked for a private firm, and I actually represented mostly clients who sued municipalities, the state, and the federal government, usually over property issues. So permitting issues or disputes over property lines, that sort of thing. So I've got, close to 15 years of experience in municipal law. It's what I love to do. It's my bread and butter. It's the bread and butter for Sam as well. And we've got Alex Foote and our firm who we're trying to bring up to speed on our various municipal clients. And one of my goals is, like Sam mentioned, is to have capacity and redundancy such that we can respond to you hopefully within a short amount of time. And my goal is definitely within 24 hours, but also to have Alex CC'd on most things. And our goal is not to bill his time if he's just reading material, but our goal is to expose him to the issues that North Pole is facing and provide some redundancy in case Sam or I are out of the office.
I have one question. This is Benny Williams. if we would send some information to you, and how long would it take for you guys to get an answer back to us normally?
Sure. What kind of information are you thinking of?
If we was to ask you a question about something.
Yeah, so usually we have capacity. If you send us something in the morning, our goal is to get you a response in the afternoon. Sometimes it can be faster, but our goal, and my goal in particular, is I want to respond within 24 hours of something. And if it's a really time sensitive hot issue, you can always call, and we'll respond faster. But our goal is to be responsive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another one of the issues that we had with our previous law firm was how long it took them to get back to us on things. Is like reviewing contracts and RFPs. Sometimes it would take months and months and months to even get a reply from them. So I will say the experience that I've had with you in the public records request lawsuit, you're very, very responsive. I got emails from you at 9 o'clock at night. I got emails from you on the weekends. And so I do appreciate how soon you got back to us on everything, and I assume that that's the way it will be in the future.
Yeah, thanks. We do strive for that. One thing, just clarification I wanted to add is that sometimes the response in 24 hours is, wow, that's a complicated one, and I'm busy this week. When can we get back to you with a more substantive response? It's going to take a little longer. Sometimes it's simply that, but even that is important, I think, to just let people know that their questions being, considered. And but sometimes the subject matter is just more complicated than something that can be turned around in a day. But uh,
Please, Councilman Claus.
Hello, gentlemen, welcome. I had a quick question. It's Santa Claus, one of the council members here. You had mentioned some of the more complex things. I was thinking, in addition to tasks like contract review, that sort of thing, um, some of us here would like to see our code revised and updated, and some other people would like to see our policy manual come into existence, and also possibly entertain going to a city manager form of government. And I'm wondering if any of those particular tasks would be too burdensome or time consuming for your firm, should they arise. I'm not sure that they will, but should they?
I can take that one, and maybe Rob can add to it. Is that code revision is something we're doing on a daily basis. So no, it would not be too complicated. Like a personnel policy manual is also something that we're doing on a regular basis. So no, not at all. Those are longer lead time projects, like a personnel policy. Honestly, if you found us at the right time and we weren't in the middle of, a certain, litigation or something, I mean, that's something we could turn around in under, in a couple weeks or under a month, probably. Um, and one thing I wanted to add along those lines is we tend to be very good at, for cost savings and efficiency, try to figure out who has the most ability and bandwidth at any given time. So we have one attorney who primarily does labor and employment. That's really what he does all day. And so if it's a personnel policy manual, provided he has, depending on his time, we can get him to do it, and he's remarkably efficient at it. But Rob or I can also do that work. But no, those kind of things are, Rob used the phrase bread and butter. That's what we're doing all day. So it's not too complicated. It's just there are a little bit bigger chunks of work, so we have to kind of make sure we don't overpromise on a timeline with the project, but we can turn that around pretty quickly, usually.
And if I can add a little bit of context for you on let's say a big project like that, over the month, we'll be interacting with whoever the primary contacts are constantly. And it's not it goes to us on day one and it disappears for 30 days. It's one of those things, like Sam mentioned, it goes to us on day one. We'll, get some sort of feedback to you, set up some timelines, set up, probably some conversation opportunities to really kind of thread through the issues that you're trying to address and provide you feedback. It's an iterative process for us. It's not a goes to us a black box and disappears. And then in addition to this, code updates and the policy review, we'll gladly tackle a big governance project like a city manager project. If that's what the city wants, we're here for you, and it's not too big or too small for us.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, please, council member.
Reading through your letter of interest here, I think you kind of got a sense of what we're going through here in North Pole when you helped us with the lawsuit. One of the things you said here, if elected officials need the city attorney to continuously resolve internal disputes, then those type of tasks dramatically increase legal fees and assistance with challenging employment matters. Is there a point where you can, if somebody is constantly calling you for petty issues, where you can just tell them that it's not appropriate use of our time? How would you handle that?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, maybe I'll give you kind of an approach or a strategy that we use. And, this Sam and I, like he mentioned, we work with a number of municipalities, and we had a really challenging year with another municipality because they were having so many internal disputes. And so some of the things that we implemented there and we've implemented in other communities is if you can keep us informed and where we can help solve issues before they become problematic, or if you see something that's starting to burn, that's either time or capital for any of you or some of the directors, reach out to us earlier the better. And then, this another approach that we've used is limit the number of people that are authorized to request our services. In some communities, it's the city manager and the mayor. In other communities, it's the mayor, and that includes, pro tems, director level employees, and individual council members if there's conflicts of interest, or if there's a policy or a legislative matter that somebody wants us to work on, 2 council members. So 1 council member can call us, but make sure they've got support from somebody else to back them up. And then, if you want to implement those things, we're happy to. And if we do that, that can really limit the amount of time where somebody's, poking us just for trivial things. But we're also, and I'm one of the first that'll do it, will happily say, this is not a legal issue, this is a policy issue, or you need to talk to your supervisor if you want us to go below director level employees to help contain costs. So, there's a variety of tools that we can do, and we're willing and able to do them depending on what the council and the mayor want us to do.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you for joining us this evening, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, and we'll be available later this meeting if you need us.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
I think if they're ready, we might as well move right forward if that's okay with everybody. As long as they're comfortable with it. Hello, Max. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. This is Larry Turch, Mayor of the City of North Pole. Welcome and thank you for being here with us this evening.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for having me.
Would you mind giving us a little rundown of the services you would provide the City of North Pole?
Yes, sir. Of course, I'd be happy to do that. I am with a firm called Germain Dunnigan and Owens, JDO. We are an Alaskan law firm, been in operation for 50 years this year. We were founded in the 1970s. We serve a variety of clients across Alaska. Our attorneys have a broad range of practice areas, and in particular, serving local governments and other public entities is really at the heart of what we do. And so we represent cities, boroughs, school districts, and other public entities across the state. We have a dedicated municipal law team here at JDO with attorneys that are experienced in a variety of practice areas that are kind of relevant to our municipal clients and their needs. So that includes litigation, labor and employment, HR issues, construction, public contracting. Those are some of the areas we find that are often connected to our municipal practice. And so that and our representation of municipal clients, is both as general counsel and often for projects or litigation matters as well. Our guiding principle in our municipal practice is always to act in the public's best interest. And so we think that all municipal officials, elected officials, municipal employees, city attorneys, we all have a responsibility to the public to act in the best interest of the community, even when those are difficult decisions or unpopular or inconvenient. We think that's it really guides what we do and how we practice. So for the city, I would serve as your primary point of contact. I would handle most of your legal work. Municipal law is my primary practice area. I've kind of outlined in the letter some of my experience with municipal law, but I'm a city attorney. I'm a borough attorney, and I do a lot of that work. That's a primary area of my practice. And if the need arises, I can involve other attorneys that are listed on our proposal to assist with a matter. And that's one benefit of JDO. We've got an experienced group of really good attorneys in a variety of practice areas. So I find that occasionally there are times when we could handle a matter more efficiently and for a lower cost by involving an attorney that's experienced in a particular practice area. And so that might be something like, employment, HR issues, litigation. So in those situations, I utilize those folks, and I try to kind of, give them a lot of autonomy to handle it, because I know they're gonna come to the answer for the client in the most efficient way and get the best result. We also utilize associate attorneys at the firm for legal research or drafting projects, as well as paralegals. So utilizing some of those resources is cost efficient, as those folks bill at lower rates. So that can save the city some money. Our proposal includes some of the JDO attorneys that are part of our municipal law team. So I've included Ryan Stewart, who's a shareholder at the firm. He's got 18 years of experience in labor and employment law, much of that spent serving local governments and school districts, and previously worked at the municipality of Anchorage in the law department. Megan Sandone is a JDO shareholder as well. She's got 15 years of litigation experience, excellent trial attorney, and often has clients come to her specifically to go to trial, which civil litigators do not do very often. For our municipal clients, she's got a lot of experience assisting on their matters, and we've gotten a lot of favorable results for our clients. And then I've included Taylor McMahon. Taylor's a senior attorney at JDO, and her practice focuses on construction law, public contracting, procurement matters. And she's got a lot of extensive experience in the public sector, construction and in procurement. So I utilize her, and she's a great resource. Those issues come up fairly often with our municipal clients and their various projects and contracting issues. We've got of course an excellent support staff, very experienced and professional. We're a full service law firm, so we can respond to any of the city's legal needs. We are, I would say, in terms of our proposal, we're able to provide a high level of legal services at a very reasonable cost. And we offer the lowest rate we can for our municipal clients, because we know municipalities across the state are dealing with funding shortfalls and less assistance from the state and the federal government. And so cost is an important issue. So we would certainly be sensitive to that for the city. And our proposal hopefully reflects that. And so I think that's kind of a basic rundown of what we can do for you, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you for that. Questions, council or staff?
One of my questions, this is Benny Williams, Councilman Williams. One of my question is, if we send some information to you, how often or how quick will you get back with us about that information?
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Williams. That's a good question. So my practice is, I like to have a single point of contact for our municipal clients. So that's me. You can give me a call, you can email me. And I generally respond within 24 hours, and I really shoot to do it the same day. And at the very least, what I like to do in that time frame is to assess what the issue is or what the question is, and kind of see where it needs to go from there, whether I need more information from you, whether we've got a quick answer offhand and I can give that to you. Or at the very least give you a timeline for when I think we can get a response back to you or move it forward. So that's my practice, is that way you're not kind of in the dark about when you might hear on something and how long all that's going to take. And so we try to be as responsive as we can.
All right, thank you.
Please, Councilman Brandt.
So if you have somebody from the city that's constantly contacting you about petty issues, not sure how to word this, but things that are would not necessarily need to go to the attorney, that should be able to be handled internally, how would you deal with that?
I think I encourage my municipal clients to have some sort of protocol for how to involve the attorney in city matters. And so I think that works best for the attorney, and it works best for the council and the mayor, to kind of have a limited number of points of contact. And so everyone's on the same page. If it's, and so if there's an issue arising where we're, getting contact, from an individual council member, for example, but but it's apparent to me that's not coming from the entire body. I mean, certainly, I'm going to be responsive to those communications, but I think it would also be an occasion to have a discussion about how best to for us to be able to serve you. And I think in doing that, having some amount of efficiency and who's contacting the attorney and a protocol for that is helpful.
So what if it is some primary point of contact from our city to the attorney that is constantly contacting you about petty issues?
Well, we're going to be as responsive as we can. But if it's, I think if there are issues where I can see that there really isn't a need to contact the attorney on that issue, it's not a legal issue, for example, it's really more of an administrative issue, or something that shouldn't necessarily involve the attorney. I think I would have that conversation and just say, well, I've seen I've gotten a lot of emails or contacts of this type, and let's just maybe let's have a bigger picture discussion about where you're going to need me and where you won't. So I'll try to be as responsive as I can, but I think sometimes it's good to have that conversation.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Please, Councilman Claus.
Thanks, Mayor. Hi, it's Santa Claus, one of the numerous council members here. In addition to reviewing contracts and things like that, normal attorney type work, I'm wondering, do you have experience and are you familiar with code work and also policy manuals, and perhaps a city that's mayor-based going into a city manager type form of government, should the city decide to do that?
Yes, Councilman Claus, I've got experience in all those areas. So I've done substantial code revisions for some of our clients, and I find it's a good idea occasionally, as you know, as the need arises, or even, you know, kind of looking prospectively at potential code revisions and where that can be effective for the city. And so I've done that. I've worked on procurement codes, zoning and planning, and land use, and land disposition, acquisition, and sales. And sales taxes. I mean, so that it's kind of a constant part of my practice is to work on code revisions. I have more. Actually, most of my clients are manager council form of government. And so I'm very familiar with that. I have not been an attorney for a client that has transitioned from one form to the other, but I will say I am very familiar with the other form, utilizing a city manager, and certainly could have some helpful insight to you on that if that's something the city is considering.
Thank you.
Any other questions from staff or council? Okay, Mr. Holmquist, thank you for you and your firm for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, and hope to work with you. Thank you.
Wonderful evening.
You too.
Good evening, Ms. Weiss. Thank you for joining us this evening. You're here with North Pole City Council members and some of our staff. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yes, no problem. Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to give a brief rundown of your services, and then after that, we'll have council and staff questions.
Sure. I am one of the many shareholders at Guess and Red. We're a full service law firm. We have folks who do business law, oil and gas. We do a lot of civil litigation, and we also serve as municipal attorney for other jurisdictions, as well as advising general businesses and nonprofits. On a personal level, I served for 15 years as an assistant municipal attorney for the municipality of Anchorage through numerous administrations. And then currently, right now, I serve as municipal attorney for Delta Junction and also for the Lake and Peninsula Borough. And, you know, I think that we bring a wealth of experience, both from governmental angle as well as the private sector, and are aware of many of the issues going on in Alaska. All of the folks at our firm, many of whom have lived in Alaska their entire lives, are really up to date on what's happening throughout the city, both politically, but more so also from an economic perspective. And I think that that can be very valuable. I'm happy to answer questions about particular issues. I'm aware of your general structure of your code and your charter. And I must say, I think it's very well organized. So I like that. And also generally aware of some of the issues that you are facing. But of course, the devil's always in the details. And, you know, I feel I could be of good assistance, and I would do my best to be efficient and responsive. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is being very responsive. So are there particular subjects or topics that you'd like me to speak on? I'm happy to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from council? Please, Councilman Claus.
Thanks, Mayor. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
I had a quick question. Since you had the municipal attorney experience, in addition to contracts and things, we're considering revamping our code and also creating some sort of a general policy manual for the different departments, et cetera. And perhaps having the voters consider going to a city manager form of government. Are you familiar with all those particular points?
Yeah, I mean, at the municipality of Anchorage, as well as at the city of Delta Junction, there are many manuals, policies, and procedures that govern the different departments. Typically, those are not part of the code, but there may be aspects of it dictated by code or included. And both the municipality had a municipal manager form of government that can be very useful when you have a lot of complex business type issues, and somebody to be able to kind of have cohesion among all of the different departments and sort of, we'll call it the day-to-day functioning of the government. I think it's important to have a very good one, somebody who's very competent and knowledgeable about contracts and also employee relations, and if there's any union issues. So that's the important thing there. And revamping the code is something that certainly you can do. I find that's a pretty big task. And so one thing, of course, sometimes is to think about, if you're looking at doing different sections, to break it down into bite-sized pieces.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Brent.
If you had somebody at the city that was, excuse me, constantly contacting you about petty issues, petty things that are maybe not a appropriate use of our attorney's time, how would you handle that?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing to do is to have a really clear guideline about how the city council wants to communicate what they need done. So I think that that's sort of, you can preempt that to some degree by having a very clear standard and sort of rules that everybody's agreed on in terms of how questions are going to get made. I like to say that sometimes you can very gently suggest that. I think that if there is that individual that is expected the contact to come from, you might involve them in the discussion as well. I think it does also depend on the particular topic. I don't think that those things have to take a lot of time. So that's the important thing, is if it's obvious to me that it's not a critical issue to be dealt with, I think I would feel very comfortable telling that individual that that's something that's probably not worth the time. So I think a combination of having a frank discussion with that individual, as well as abiding by any of the rules that we have all set in place for how communications are going to come so that there can be control of the expenses of an attorney.
What if it is the primary point of contact from our city to the attorney, though? How would you handle that?
I think that that's always trickier, but I think, again, I think a lot of it is about having a groundwork for not just who's going to bring the issues, but what the overall goals are in terms of the relationship. But if it were that individual, I think ultimately I would be really frank with them. If it's something that is probably not a good use of the attorney time, I think I would be frank with them. But also, again, I always say, as the city attorney, I mean, under the charter, the city attorney is responsible to the council as a whole, and that's who that they answer to. So I think ultimately, if it's one individual, whoever that individual is, the council as a whole does need to know what's happening and what's going on, and may need to be brought into the discussion about what tasks should be done.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is Councilman Williams. Oh, where am I? There I go. This is Councilman Williams. My question is, if we send you a concern, and how long would it take for you to get back to us about that concern?
Well, my goal is always, when somebody sends something to me, to respond immediately, if certainly within 24 hours, to be able to find out what it is that they need with respect to this, and to maybe troubleshoot what the best product would be. And then based on the scope of the question or the nature of the project or assignment, to talk about what that time might look like. Many of the questions that come are sometimes questions that can be answered incredibly quickly. And if that can be done, I am perfectly happy to give sort of quick email responses the same day if possible, so that that issue can be dispensed with. Certainly bigger tasks, I pride myself on getting back to people very quickly. And if it's something I'm not going to be able to take care of that day or the next day, to be able to talk with them back and forth about what needs to be done, what that might entail, and agree upon a time frame.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from staff or council? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Weiss, for joining us. Appreciate it. Have a
Okay.
wonderful evening.
Thank you very much.